Supporting the school, fantastic discussion, great sticks, and very good wine. What else do you need?
The mixture, I guess. It's been a good combination of ideas from everyone. For me, certainly the biology. As a philosopher, I didn't come here for philosophy.
Teachers. My way of thinking changed enough to count it as really good winter school.
The concept of mixing two disciplines was very interesting, and realizing that I have still so much more that I need to look at, learn.
This is nice, the classes are good. Get a good mix.
I agree, this is wonderful. It's a great opportunity to meet people in sort of different aspects of evolution and sort of to create interdisciplinary bridges between the subjects.
I think it's a stepping stone to something I'd like to see a little bit more of. A lot of interdisciplinary work and linguists learning a little bit about biology and biologists learning about linguistics.
I really enjoyed my classes as a political scientist. I don't have so many opportunities to interact with people outside of my field as an economist.
The school was great, this dinner was great, and thank you for having me, and see you the next school.
I hope you're enjoying the dinner. I hope you like it here. I just want to say one thing. It's one thing to have an idea, and it's another to see it come true. And you cannot have a school about evolution, about the subjects that we're dealing with at this school, without having teachers. And so I would like to ask all of you, after this week of knowledge, to give a very warm applause to the teachers. And in that applause, please show the affection towards them that you feel for having these people come here and share their knowledge in the way that they do.
So I really loved the center, the Pavilion of Knowledge. It's been great to come here, but it's also been great to interact with a great group of students, different levels, also with the different teachers in the school. So I think it's a great idea. For me, it's a great opportunity to come to a beautiful city and talk science for 5 days, and hopefully have colleagues that I'll stay in contact with and be able to work with for years and years.
I think this is a wonderful thing. I was very surprised to see how many people, how many students came, and not just from here, actually not just from Europe. I think there's something very, very innovative about this school, probably having to do with the fact that it's run by people who understand the philosophy of science, as opposed to people who are just very, very deep into the technical questions of genetics and so on. So I think this is very, very good news, and I really hope for this to flourish and continue and bring a lot of people into these new views of evolution.
I think it has some real strengths to it that make it a pleasure to be involved. One is that you have people from various places all coming together, people representing these different viewpoints or perspectives and expertise. And I think that's the strength. That's how we can build a better understanding of evolutionary systems, of how the planet works, of how people fit into the planet. We have to get away from the boxes that we're traditionally in of disciplines. And this winter school focused here on evolution and symbiogenesis and so forth really allows that kind of connection, allows that kind of knowledge building that otherwise would be lost.
So the winter school has been a very interesting initiative to bring people together from different backgrounds who have different perspectives. So it is really useful and enriching to interact with people who have a different background and who have different views on patterns that you're also studying yourself. And of course Lisbon is a nice city as well. It's certainly not a bad thing to be around here and to interact with people, not only in the lecture rooms but also outside while having coffee or while going for lunch. That is often the moment when interesting ideas can be freely discussed. And we've had a lot of that here.
Many of the activities that I've been participating in here at the school, this includes coffee times, dinners, the class I'm teaching, the course I'm teaching. It's been phenomenally important to me as we refer to it as hard scientists. I don't actually like that terminology per se, but someone who comes from a strict scientific background. This has been a real watershed period for me because it helps me to think about the philosophy of science or the history of science more. The evolution of languages, the evolution of cultures. It's been a great deal of fun for me just to interact with them, but it's also been very important because I'm already reconsidering how do I do my science. And I think that that's actually, I think that's so important for us to take steps back occasionally. And this school is very unusual because I've never been at a school or at a workshop or a symposium where we have this kind of breadth of expertise.
I'm very excited to be in this school because it's a meeting place for people who are looking at evolution from many different perspectives. So we have philosophers, we have evolutionary biologists doing cutting-edge research. So it's really exciting to be able to interact with them, to go to classes from biologists, from top biologists, and especially for me it's interesting to see how they think about similar problems that I'm facing, that I'm thinking about, and they really do have a very different way of seeing things. So I hope I can contribute because my way of thinking will be so different from theirs as well, so we'll all hopefully enrich each other's view of what evolution is and how can we study it, hopefully.
It's been a great experience to be able to participate in this winter school. I think it's great to have some kind of locus where you can bring together biologists and linguists, and I know you're also going to be in the summer bringing social evolutionists together. It's hard for us as the instructors to have too much contact because we're so involved in teaching our own classes, but I know from speaking to the students that it's really exciting for them, for linguistic students to take courses in biology and for biology students to take courses on language evolution.
My regular teaching, I don't get the opportunity to interact with graduate students, and so for me, a really exciting thing about the week has been the chance to meet graduate students. It's been a really wonderful international group. It's a really great mixed group of students, and they don't always agree with each other. We've had a couple of interesting disagreements in class, but the great thing is that they all have a pretty solid background in these issues, and they're all interested in these big questions about evolution. And it's been, for that reason, a kind of unique teaching experience.
I've never seen a school like this. So interdisciplinary. Professors, they were so happy with the organization. They said, wow, this is so smoothly organized. And so they were really, really happy to be here in Lisbon. You can see from people's faces that they will remember this as a very nice experience of learning and of getting to know people and things that they are not encountering in their day-to-day life.
It's been a real pleasure to be able to come and teach on this school. So I've taught a number of different summer schools and cultural phylogenetics before, as you know, and none of them have been as varied as this one. It's just such a pleasure to be able to sit down at breakfast and chat to philosophers, to chat to people working on Devo, to talk to other people looking at social and cultural evolution. And, you know, that's just for us, the instructors, so it must just be fantastic for the students to have this really diverse, but all concentrated on evolution and the fun, exciting new bits of evolution, not the kind of boring bits.
This has been a very enriching week. Well, Lisbon is a beautiful city, and the summer school has been very rich in terms of discussions and exchanges. It's a privilege to have a week-long opportunity to exchange with both biology and philosophy and other disciplines students. Summer schools like this are, the fact that they're intensive, the fact that they're interdisciplinary in the right way. The content is focused enough that we can have meaningful discussions and find, let's say, translation terms between our fields. Is probably the way forward, at least for graduate students, to have a better sense of the potential of their own field and the potential of looking elsewhere for inspiration and new methods. So So it has been very fruitful for me, and I hope it has been fruitful for the students as well.
The school is wonderful, and the students are so good, and I also really like the other teachers and what they are saying. It's very interesting. I thought it was great. It was organized very well, a nice atmosphere, and I really learned interesting things, and it was all perfect.
Being an instructor at the Summer School of Evolution run by AppEEL has been one of the best experiences in science I have ever had. It's extremely challenging when you ask a student from a different discipline to explain something from the area of your expertise in a completely different light that makes you re-evaluate your own perception of the world. And I think that's what we all have to do and continuously throughout our careers to grow. And I think this is something that also we can help students to achieve, to always question things and to expand upon what's known.
I've been so impressed. I've been so impressed with the city. I've been so impressed with the way you organize things, you and your staff. It's so wonderfully convenient, and I'm impressed with the students too.
I've done a fair amount of organisation myself, and I know how much work goes into it, and I know that the best kind of, it's like ballet, isn't it? The best kind of summer school or anything like that is one which seems so smooth that it's easy. And I know that you only do good ballet and only run good summer schools if you've done so much work before that nobody realizes.
I'm Bouchard. I am the director of the Lisbon Applied Evolutionary Epistemology Lab, and I am the brain behind this evolution school. I'm an interdisciplinary scholar. I have I have a background in philosophy of science and in anthropology, and I have been very interested in combining and integrating evolutionary theory into the social-cultural domain. And for a very long time I have myself looked for schools like the one that I'm organizing now, where people from the humanities or the social sciences can get adequate training in evolutionary theory, and also vice versa. During my career I have met with a lot of biologists who were very interested in studying social-cultural evolution and in investigating how their theories developed within evolutionary biology were able to address issues in social-cultural sciences. And so this has been my major motivation to organize this school, because I never found schools like this. I never found a place where you can get training from both biologists and anthropologists on topics of evolutionary theory. So that's what motivated me to begin this school. And one of the things that I emphasize in the schools is the multi and interdisciplinarity. So of course there exists a lot of summer schools, there exists a lot of winter schools on Evo or on symbiosis perhaps, or microbial biology. Schools like that exist, but these schools are also organized for a specific audience, for a specific target audience. So a school on Evo, for example, might be students from within microevolution or molecular genetics might be able to enroll, but a philosopher, for example, might not be selected for these schools. So this is also something that I wanted to do with these schools. I wanted them to be open to an audience that was coming from different disciplines. At present, evolutionary research in general is highly underrepresented in university curricula. So if you're a biologist, of course you're going to be educated in evolutionary theory, in genetics, in biology, and things like that. But when you're, for example, part of the humanities department, if you study linguistics or if you study philosophy or sociology, evolutionary theory and the different means there are to study a certain social-cultural phenomena from within an evolutionary perspective remains underrepresented. And so I think it's very necessary, if we want to have a future generation that is prepared to do multidisciplinary work, I think it is very important for them to have schools like this where people can find connections between the students, who are probably going to be their future colleagues. The students are also able to make connections with the pioneers within the field. At the end of the week, students leave here with a very broad overview of what they can do. They learn about methodologies, they learn about conceptual frameworks, they learn about different fields, and so I think that is very interesting. I also wanted the teachers to teach the courses at a level that people from other disciplines, from non-field specific disciplines, will be able to understand. And I think we succeeded in that very much, and one of the things that we saw that we were also hoping for was that not only the students but also the teachers would because of that, start to think about, okay, so what is it specifically that I'm doing? How am I defining a field? What kind of field am I fighting against? How does this relate into the broader picture? And as such, of course, as we are a philosophy of science center and a philosophy of science lab, as such we are also integrating the more theoretical aspects and philosophical questions. And I think by the end of the week, the students not only have had specific courses that will help them in their specific research, I think they will also have a general attitude and interest in finding and wanting to find a bigger picture of what evolution is.